Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, it's me again. Just another quick video here for you. And I want to sort of preface this a little bit. When I was a kid, I grew up playing APPA. My father had played APPA, and we had a pretty large collection of APPA baseball cards, some football, some basketball. I grew up totally obsessed with the sport. I grew up reading the APPA journal, and really, I care a lot about the company, which is sort of the reason why I'm about to really go off on them here. So what I have here open for you is the APPA game company website. And I'm going to tell you that as nice as this might look, I have some really big problems with this site. I haven't purchased anything, as a caveat here. I haven't purchased anything from the APPA Game Company since 1999. I think the last new product that I ever bought from APPA was the 1998 season cards. I remember getting that along with the weather, whatever it was, the weather package they had at that time, the park effects, all of the XBs, the master game symbols and everything like that. I would have been 14 when I bought that. It's been a long time, and yet when I look at this website, I kind of wonder whether anything is any different, right? So you can see here, this looks like okay, right? Until we get a little bit closer in and start really looking at what's going on. So one of the problems that I have here with this site is that there's not any real information about the game, right? You click here on Why We Play APPA, and what you get is a Dropbox link to a file that's been deleted, so that's not a good sign, right? I can look at the rosters for the 2022 baseball teams, which is not so helpful. Now, I'm looking at this as if I'm a new customer. Let's say that I'm like somebody, like a teenager, right, looking at this site. I mean, first of all, I would look at this and I'd be like, what decade was this programmed in? But whatever, I'm not going to be too critical here. You know, right here, there's a video that like shows APPA baseball, right? But what we have a bunch of like 8-year-old kids playing it, and I can't really see anything. I can't see much about what's going on, you know. I'll tell you that here we got the charts in front of you. The kids don't even have really the cards organized the correct way according to what it says in the manual. And the thing that amazes me about this is that I click over here onto the video, and guess what I see? I see that this is part of this guy's YouTube page. It's a 7-year-old video, and this guy has one video, and that is this. That's it, right? And I mean, right away I'm thinking, I mean, this is like what you're using to advertise your game. What's going on? Okay, so I want to find out more about APPA baseball, right? So I click here, enjoy the thrill of baseball, make the same decisions, blah, blah, blah. This will take me here to the screen that tells me a little bit about the APPA baseball game. What does it tell me? It's fun, and it's as realistic as Pro Ball, and it's statistically accurate, and we've upgraded the results today. And it tells me that I can choose the starting lineup, choose the starting pitcher, I can choose relief pitchers, I can put in substitutes. I can tell the batter to hit away or sacrifice, or to call for the hit and run, and apparently do a lot more. Now, I've played APPA baseball before, and I'm thinking, well, what else can you do? Can someone tell me? I would love to know. It tells me that it's easy to play. You'll be rolling the dice and playing within 2 minutes, and there's no long, challenging instructions to read or learn, except for the master game, but that's another topic. And once you read the rules, then it's really easy, and there's a PC version. And that is what advertises the game. So what's missing here? I'll tell you what's missing here. Like, where are the cards, right? Where are the boards? Where's anything, right? And that's where it takes you. I mean, if you click over here on Getting Started, what it will tell you here is games usually take half an hour or longer. And they're all designed for 2 people, but more can play, and also solo players can play. And you can play in as quick as 5 minutes. And the games use dice. Okay, that's great. And then there are charts in the rule books, and you can draft teams if you want. And there are some games that have optional rules, right? Again, I mean, this tells me nothing, right? This doesn't tell me how to play the game, which is the thing that you want to know, right? Now, I could look even at the About Us page, right? And I'll get a lot about the history of the game. So APPA dates back to when J. Richard Seitz played a tabletop simulation game with his friends called National Pastime. His game was loosely based on an old tabletop baseball game called National Pastime. That's a lie. That's a lie. APPA, in its first edition, was a copy of National Pastime with a pitching system and a fielding system put on top of it. Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Unlike any previous board game, it combined the randomness of dice with the on-field performance of individual players, unlike any board game except for National Pastime. And then, I mean, there's all this stuff about like the history of J. Richard Seitz, which is like, I mean, it's okay. It's interesting if you're interested in the history. But once again, like, I want to know, how do you play the game, right? I mean, it doesn't even say here who owns the company today, which is another interesting omission, right? Anyway, it's really, really frustrating, right? So if you're looking at this and you're like, well, what is this game about? How do we play it and stuff? Well, we went over to Games and Baseball and it told us nothing, right? When you go to Games Baseball, I can click on Baseball 5.75. Maybe that'll tell me something. Oh, no, this is about baseball for Windows. And even here, it tells you nothing about it. I mean, it doesn't tell you anything about the game at all. You can go over to the blog. Maybe the blog will tell us like what's going on. Oh, no, the blog hasn't been updated since 2016. Right, which was 7 years ago. So we haven't updated our blog in 7 years. And then when we were updating it, we were using this as sort of like a mirror of what the newsletter was telling us, or to sell new items. I mean, this is a problem. And I'm going to show you why this is a problem, right? So if we go over here to, let's see if I can find it here. If we go to the archives, here we go. Go over to About in the Archives. Now, I've cheated. I've looked at this before. I know this. We click on baseball. What we can see is all sorts of like random stuff up here, like documents and things that have been scanned in. And then we can get the good stuff, right? So we'll look at the 1962 so-called baseball brochure. This wasn't really a brochure. This was a 2-page full-color advertisement that is the way that APPA used to be marketed. So J. Richard Seitz, whether you like him or hate him, whatever it is you think about what he did, and he stole another man's game or whatever, we'll talk about all this later on. What Seitz was excellent at is he was very good at marketing his own game. And look at what we have here, how the APPA Major League Baseball game is played. Don't ask me why the APPA Major League Baseball website now can't have this section. That's what it's missing. Where is this section, right? The section explains to you how to read the dice, which is the basic part of the game. It gives you a picture of example cards. It tells you how to read the dice and the cards. And look, the boards are right underneath it. So you can look quickly at the boards and say, oh, okay, I see. So, well, I don't see play result 26 here, but I see a 9, and a 9 is going to be a single over short. If he's facing a grade C pitcher, though, it's going to be a pop fly out to the third baseman. And if he's facing an A, it's a strikeout. If he faces a B, it's a base hit. And you get an idea of how the flow of the game works, and then there's a different chart for each different situation, right? That's what it tells you here. What else do we have on here? There's a, in addition to APPA players all but breathe, look, we have a box score of a World Series game played with APPA and written up in sort of the sporting news style, including a whole like recap of the game, which is fascinating, right? And then we have all of the testimonials from APPA players, including their full names and addresses, in case you wanted to write into them and say, hey, do you still like this game? We got people who are in the military who played it and who say, oh, this is wonderful and that's wonderful and so on and so forth, right? And of course, sold by mail only, blah, 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 blah. But you see what I'm saying? The old brochures had a lot of information on how the game was played, right? J. Richard Seitz knew that the game was good, and that it was simple, and that it was easy to explain, and he spent a lot of time talking about how the game was played. The website doesn't. The website has none of this information at all. I mean, it's an absolute travesty, right? We look here at this same brochure from 1975. Oh, and here we have Ruth, Gehrig, and Cobb. We can see a little bit more of what the boards look like, and it's the same write-up here. And it says, oh, yeah, look, that on Ty Cobb's card, there are double columns, and that means the 0 means you choose the second column. When you roll the dice again, for these other ones, it's a single rule, and you just look at the first column, right? So where is that? How come that's not on the APPA website today? Why do I have to go over to archives and know to look at this thing from 1975 or from 1962 to be able to get this information, right? If you had a kid who was interested in this game, his only choice is to go to a YouTube channel like this one and watch somebody else play and then hope he can figure out like what this game is all about. Now, I say this because I care about the company. I'm going to tell you that I believe that the APPA game company today is probably in a lot of financial trouble. And the reason why is because it's not going to find any new players. We've been talking since the mid-1990s about how the computer games are taking over and board games are a thing of the past. It's not true. It's not true. You can go onto the forums and see that there are plenty of people, especially older people, who get sick of using the computer all day and who want to play a board game. There are younger people who want to play board games as well. When I was in middle school and when I wasn't playing APPA baseball in my room, I was playing Magic the Gathering with my friends. We were playing with cards. This is during a time when computer games and video games are huge. People were playing Warcraft and StarCraft back then. Warcraft 2, and I remember StarCraft had just come out, right? Despite all of that, we were spending our time playing a card game. People like playing card games. Kids like playing card games. Kids might even become interested in baseball again. Guess what? They're going to play baseball now with clocks all over the place so that they can speed the game up, not have guys sit there and take 2 minutes between pitches. Well, maybe it'll become popular again. Maybe more kids will want to see things, right? I mean, if that happens, if we start seeing more interest in the game and your APPA, you want to start advertising and you want to have a website that is friendly to new players. The website as it is now is not friendly to new players at all. If you don't know how to play APPA and you look at this website, you're going to be really confused. And for a lot of people who've come back to APPA, as is usually the case after being away for like 20, 25, or 30 years, they come to this website and they're like, what's going on? I can't even tell what is it that I'm getting. I want to show you one more thing on this website before I end up this rant. And apologies again for the length of this, but this drives me nuts, right? I clicked on shop, right? Here you are at the APPA game shop. This is done with Yahoo. It looks pretty cool because I'm in night mode and I'm forcing night mode here with, I think it's this extension here, Dark Reader, right? But I'm going to be honest with you, this web shop is exactly the same as it was in 1999. Nothing has changed. They're using the same web front. Everything is designed the same way. In fact, if anything has changed, the person who's in charge of this just simply does not know what they're doing, right? And the reason why I say that is because we have the 2015 Master Baseball Season card set sitting over here on the left side of this screen for no reason. What is it doing there? I don't know. I understand why the 51 Baseball Season Anniversary card set is here because this is a special thing where they're reprinting the 51 cards. $62 is a lot to charge for, 16 teams, 20 cards per team, right? That's a lot of money. That's interesting. But when you click over here on like APPA Baseball, you get very little information. We're looking at the basic game and we get the same information that we came up with before. It's $36, you only get 4 teams, right? There are people who don't realize that, who buy it and who get upset because it's only 4 teams. I've read your posts on those message boards. I know about that. We can go over to the master game. Guess what we have with the master game? We have the instructions. This is the only page on the entire website in which we have instructions for a baseball game. But unfortunately, it's for the master game, which is too complicated, which has a lot of things that it doesn't really need and which has some issues with accuracy that they won't tell you about, right? At least you have some instructions, but it's not a great presentation. It doesn't look that great. I can't even look to see what the charts look like, right? I can't see if like these holes at the top of the booklet get in the way of the play results or not, which I know it has done for some games, especially football, right? I mean, why is there so little information here? Why do we have this web front that was, out of date 20 years ago, right? I mean, there's a lot of money that's going into this, I can tell you that, because there are people who buy this stuff. And I mean, if you look at a season card set, right? I mean, we'll pick any season you want, it's quite a bit of money. Look at how many times you have to click to get into anything, right? If I want to look at how much the latest season card set costs, it's $86, and that's just for the 900 players, right? You have to pay extra money to get the extra players, right? I mean, it's expensive, and there's a lot of money that's flowing into it for a company that is doing no advertising, for a company that's not really employing anybody, for a company that doesn't have much customer service, for a company that has a lot of quality control. I'm upset about this, right? And I mean, I'm telling you again, like, I am in the generation that did not play a lot of these games, right? I'm kind of the odd one out. Most of my friends weren't interested in this stuff, right? It pains me to see the company end up being run in a way that has no care, like, is no concern about marketing, no concern about trying to find new customers, because this company is going to go out of business. It's already gone bankrupt twice, at least. We're going to see it happen again. You can't just keep selling the same thing to the same old guys and expect that to keep you alive forever, right? You've got to change it. You have to do some kind of marketing. And what I'm seeing here is awful. It's worse. It's worse than making no attempt. You would be better off making advertisements in print publications today than doing this. And let me tell you something, there is no other marketing or advertising at all. It's a problem. Anyway, there's my rant about the APPA game company and its lack of marketing and horrible website. I have a lot of problems with this. Let me know what you think. I think some people would probably think I'm being too harsh. I know the story about the man who owns the game right now. I've been on the message boards for decades. I know everything that's going on. And there's a reason why I feel the way that I do. Because I'm telling you, there are people who'd be interested in this game, and the company is doing nothing to go after them. It's just decided that it's better to exist in its own little corner of the world and have happy times with the good old boys. And I'm telling you, if it keeps going like this, we're going to regret it one day because there won't be any more APPA game company. I'll talk with you later. Take care. Bye.